Warning. The following contains heated discussion, controversial movie geeks' opinions, and hot takes. These are their rankings. So tonight, we are talking about the Marvel movies. Both part of the cinematic universe and the ones that, came before. There's all kinds of them. We just rate. We don't have to have seen all of them. We just rate the ones that we have seen and just where they rank. And this is going to get even more bizarre because some of these were technically just done by, comic books that they later bought, like Malibu Imprint and Icon, to name a few. But other than that, I'll just get right to it. We'll just keep this short and sweet. So
I'm horny. Let's go.
You'll all get your moment in the sun. It's an all-star cast tonight once more. So I'm going to go ahead with my rankings. I'm going to rank Blade 1 and 2, Netflix Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil show, Defenders miniseries, The Wolverine unrated cut, and Logan, Spider-Man 2002, Deadpool, Doctor Strange and Multiverse sequel, Falcon and the Winter Soldier miniseries, and Punisher films and TV show, Captain America 1 and 2, Kingsmen, and the original Men in Black. I'm going to give those all a 4 out of 5. I can watch these over and over again. I notice something every time here and there. They don't over convolute themselves needlessly or have one too many cameos or get too cute for their own good. They just have great fights, just badass characters who you just want to follow around and just so quotable. And I'm giving it for a 3 out of 5. I'm giving the original Doctor Strange TV movie, Shang-Chi, the Powers TV show. Yep, that's on Through Imprint.
Oh, I love Powers. I wish they hadn't canceled.
Yep. Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 1, the originals so bad they're good, Captain America films, Civil War, Hellstrom, Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man 2, Runaways and Cloak and Dagger spinoff, the Men in Black sequels, Avengers 3 and 4, Incredible Hulk 70s show, Roger Corman's Fantastic Four, Kick-Ass, Painkiller Jane movie and show, Ant-Man 2, Conan the Barbarian films remake and live action show, X-Men trilogy, First Class, Days of Future Past and cartoon shows, and Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, and Into Spider-Verse cartoon, and the Turtles, all a 3 out of 5.
Ew, I hate CSI.
I'm so bad. But they got some shit, but they also got some fun. But these are just, for better or worse, these are all just popcorn. So, the Daredevil film, Tom Holland's first 2 Spidey films, and No Way Home, I'm giving it a 2.5 out of 5. Sorry.
That's fair.
Not crazy about these portrayals. They are very watchable, but I feel like they're just way too long for their own good.
No Way Home was kind of ruined by Toby for me. Not Toby, Andrew.
Yep. There's a lot of hit and miss with those. So 2 out of 5. Avengers 2012, Blade Trinity, Hawkeye Show, X-Men Origins, Wolverine, Iron Man 3, What If, Loki Show, Agent Carter, Kick-Ass 2, Iron Fist, Kingsman 2, Ant-Man, Fantastic Four films, and Elektra. I'm going to give those 2 out of 5. They're just all leave so much to be desired and just feel like they got too many writers and filmmakers who don't understand the material and who they just gave a blind invite to.
I don't know. Elektra covered most of her abilities and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I did enjoy
it. Fox messed with it a bunch, though.
I don't know. I mean, I watched the unrated cut.
I might have to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it only changes like 2 or 3 scenes, but it's still good. It's just not like God tier. It's more like mid-tier.
You'll get your moment, Oreo. So the Kingsman prequel, Iron Man 2, Black Panther, Ultimate Avengers and the other Lionsgate animations, X-Men 90s TV pilot, Black Widow, Avengers 2, Man-Thing, Fantastic Four 2015, Captain Marvel, WandaVision, Spider-Man 3, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., X-Men Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix and New Mutants, Blade the series, Deadpool 2, Legion, The Gifted, Ghost Rider films, Hope 2003, Guardians 2, Venom 1 and 2, and Thor trilogy are going to get a 1 out of 5 for me.
God damn.
cannot stand any of these because they just got so much just garbage CGI, too many characters trying to be funny who aren't funny, and just distorted plots and just a why bother mentality. And last but not least, we're going to give Morbius and Moon Knight a 0 out of 5. Those were pure torture.
Ooh.
So, wow. Sorry, guys. Jeffrey, you're the first on the superhero rank, so I'll let you do your rankings of the movies you've seen in this complex universe.
Okay. Well, I've seen a lot. I've seen all the MCU and most of the Fox and Sony Spider-Man and the Fox
Lionsgate movies, yeah.
I'm not going like the deep cuts like the 70s Captain America, so I don't know anything about those. So
they're pretty shitty, but they're kind of funny.
I'm just going to start with like the MCU first, kind of just make it easier for everybody, just make it clear.
Perfect.
So granted, I'm saying 5 out of 5. Infinity War and Endgame. Winter Soldier and Spider-Man No Way Home. Those are all my perfect superhero movies. Granted, I am biased with Spider-Man No Way No Way Home. Yeah, No Way Home. The homes get me confused. The last one that came out. The one with everybody in it. That's the one. And then I know I am playing off nostalgia purposes only, but I loved every single second of that movie. And in my eyes, it is a perfect movie, a superhero movie. So those are my perfect,
especially with Winter Soldier. It's a spy movie.
Yes, Winter Soldier is basically James Bond with a shield, and I loved it, and it was amazing. The 4 out of 5s for me, that would be Ant-Man, Iron Man, the first Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange, Civil War, and that is it. Oh, and Black Panther. And those, I'm sorry, not Black Panther, Thor Ragnarok.
God damn, man, did say Black Panther.
Yeah, Thor Ragnarok. Those are all 4 out of they're almost perfect in my eyes, but there's something about it, and like Thor Ragnarok is basically almost a 5 in my eyes. It's just something about I was hoping for a little bit more the Planet Hulk than I got. When it was like promoting it, they were like, "Oh, this is gonna be a Planet Hulk kind of a movie," but you got more
running man in space.
Yeah, so that's why if it had more Planet Hulk, then Thor Ragnarok would definitely be a 5 out of 5. But it's because it wasn't that, it got demoted to a 4 out of 5, which is still not bad. It's just not perfect in my eyes.
Fair enough.
Here we go for the 3 out of 5s. I'm gonna say. This might be controversial, in the Incredible Hulk, and I'm only going to say 3 out of 5 because Incredible Hulk, because I hated the Ang Lee Hulk movie when it first came out. I saw it in theaters.
Oh, yeah.
So seeing Incredible Hulk from that Hulk, it was so much more enjoyable, and that's what I get from it. My list is very jaded. It's from nostalgia and whatnot. But yeah, Incredible Hulk.
Oh, this is all nostalgia. Half the time when people are giving a high rating, it's just like, finally my comic book creation wasn't destroyed on screen.
yeah, exactly. And then I'm going to go, I got the Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 3, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Avengers 2, Age of Ultron, the new Doctor Strange,
multiverse, nice.
Yeah, multiverse, Black Panther, shoot, okay, here we go with the homes again. Far From Home, and Homecoming. They're both in 3 on my list. And yeah, Black Widow. Those are all the ones I think. I put Black Widow. I know people are hating on Black Widow. They should be lower score. I enjoyed Black Widow. It wasn't good. It was just a nice little.
Right.
Probably because it was COVID. I just needed something to watch. I need my Marvel fix, and I got, Black Widow. So I was like, you know what, this is enjoyable.
Still can't believe that asshole held it back a fucking year like that. Dumb motherfucker.
Yeah, it is what it is, and
it's very dumb how half the guys at Marvel who aren't named Kevin need to be fired because basically everyone they just want to market, and if they don't like them, then
Yeah. But then I'm gonna go with the 2 out of 3s. I'm gonna do I think Thor, the first Captain America, and Ant-Man and the Wasp. And then actually I also missed Black Panther. Panther for me is also a 3 out of 5. And then I don't think I have any ones. I think that was all because Marvel for me is very enjoyable. A one for me is like the Power of the Dog. I mean that was trash. But so like I don't have any ones.
It has to be something that is like Oscar bait propaganda or
actually
just poorly researched.
The only one I would have on my list would be let's switch to Sony. Spider-Man's get out of the way. Spider-Man 2, perfect movie. 5 out of 5. I love Spider-Man 2. Nostalgia, I know. The first Spider-Man, I'm giving it 4 out of 5. Spider-Man 3, 4 out of 5. I recently rewatched it. It's not that bad. The one scene everyone thinks about the emo Peter, and it overshadows the whole entire movie. It's not that bad.
It's not Batman and Robin kind of crazy is, but
exactly. Venom, I give it 3 out of 5, and Venom: Let There Be Carnage is a 2 out of 5 5.
That's very accurate.
Yeah, we're going to switch to Fox. Going in order: X-Men, the first X-Men, 4 out of 5. X-Men 2, X2, or whatever you want to call it, X-Men 2 United, whatever. It's going to get a 5 out of 5 for me. Love that movie.
From beginning to end, great fights.
It's so good. It's so good. Last Stand, that's a very close to a 1, but I can't give a superhero movie a 1. So I'm going to give it a 2. First Class, I'm going to give a 5. I love X-Men First Class. That's a great movie.
I'm indestructible. Die.
Wolverine Origins, that's a 1. That one is so garbage.
It's a pretty dumb Rambo movie, which they seem to somehow give an X-Men script to. But yeah, for the rest,
there's an extended cut of that. I want to see it, but I can't find it anymore.
I don't even think I want an extended cut, to be honest with you. I don't think they could Justice League their way out of this one.
You're not getting off this easy.
Yeah,
so
it was so bad.
Well said.
Like the Blob. Oh my! And the CGI was not, even for the time. I don't even care. The CGI was horrible. But moving on, try to get this through as fast. Wolverine, 3 out of 5. I like the Japan aspect. It was kind of weird, but I still kind of digged at the same time. Logan, 5 out of 5. Do I have to even explain myself for that? Logan's
brutal, man. Brutal stuff.
It was so good. Deadpool, 4 out of 5. Deadpool 2, 3 out of 5. I think that is. Oh, and Fantastic Four. The first one, 3 out of 5. Second, Rise of the Silver Surfer, 3 out of 5. And
it did have good effects. That is true.
And I just love the Silver Surfer in itself. The Lawrence Fishburne as the
voiceover, yeah,
and Doug Jones as the bot. That was a great choice. But the 2015 Fantastic Four, also a 1. God, it's so bad.
I love it.
The writing, the acting, it's horrible. And the way it ends with, oh, what should we call ourselves? Oh, there's 4 of us. That's fantastic. Yeah, it was just really cheesy, and I hated that movie with a burning passion. We're going to switch to the cartoon shows. X-Men 90s series, 5 out of 5. I still watch it to this day. Any
writers are on Twitter.
Yeah, any shows that will still look like outdated because of like it's just not HD, but you still get brought in by the story. That's a good cartoon. And
Sheridan knows it. He's a V5 fan. It doesn't matter how many times they remaster it. If the story is invincible, then nothing else matters. It's a rarity.
That's true. And I get that. Same with the Spider-Man series in the 90s. I get that a 4 out of 5. Some of the stuff is a little cheesy, but
they introduced Blade in there. That was cool.
Yeah, I love how they introduced so many of the MCU through that one show. Like the Fantastic Four was an episode. I think even Doctor Strange came in through one of them.
I think so. I think you're right.
But yeah, that's X-Men Evolutions. These are just the ones I've seen. I might have skipped.
I forgot about that. It was so much fun.
X-Men Evolutions, I love. So
it was like a bastard child at the time, and everyone was like, "Well, it's it's not bad."
X-Men Evolutions introduced me to the Scarlet Witch and X-23 because X-23 pops up in an episode, and I was like, "Oh, Logan has a clone daughter. What is this?" And then cut to Logan. I'm like, "Oh, I know who that is because I watched X-Men Evolutions."
And Tilk from Stargate's a voice. That's already a plus.
Exactly.
Bled into the comics as well.
And just for the shows that just came out, so number 1 for me is WandaVision from Marvel. WandaVision was so bizarre and just
convoluted.
Yeah, I just had no idea what was going on for the first couple episodes, and I loved that. confuse the hell out of me, then bring me back in. That's what I want a show to do. And that's why I put Moon Knight at a 4 out of 5, as well as WandaVision. So they both get 4 out of 5 because Moon Knight did the same thing to me. It almost lost me. I'm not gonna lie. The first 2 episodes were kind of rough, but then they added on the mystique of it, and it just confused me. And I know somebody who said that they didn't finish it or seen it. I won't spoil it.
I finished it, but I hated myself for it.
I love it. I love the way it ended. I mean, it's kind of cheesy towards the end, typical Marvel, but the story and the acting of Oscar Isaac is, I want to say, Emmy level acting. From switching from character to character seamlessly, that was so enjoyable to watch. Oh, that alone gives me a 4 out of 5. Wasn't perfect because perfection is perfection. But Loki, I also give a 4 out of 5. I enjoyed Loki.
Yeah.
Falcon Winter Soldier, just for the fact that it was just an action TV show, a 4 out of 5. What If, 3 out of 5. And which one am I missing?
I don't know.
Oh, Hawkeye. Hawkeye is also Hawkeye's a 3 out of 5. I just have a thing for Haley Steinfeld. That's the only reason why. That's all. And that's all I got.
That Vaseline out.
Fair enough. Okay, so Teresa, I'm going to let you go next.
Okay. Let me see.
Where do you rank Marvel in your eyes compared to DC?
Okay, let's start with my 5s. My favorite in all of Marvel is Black Panther, for T'Challa and Shuri as awesome characters. And I think Shuri is going to be every bit as great as T'Challa was when she gets more time in the second Black Panther movie. I also think that it's great. There's a great world and sense of culture. And the perspectives of heroes and villains are both really understandable. They did both have a clear direction that they want the world to go in. So that's my favorite one. And
Totally
also
understand.
the soundtrack.
I had pals who were watching Creed and they're like, "Oh, but I grew up hating Michael B. and Black Panther." And you're like, "It's where he did his job as an actor. Played a villain who wants to take back his kingdom."
Certainly. And continuing in my 5s, I love Thor Ragnarok for Valkyrie and Korg the club bouncer-ish acting prisoner.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It was great because it was funny and it always cheers me up. Then Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is a favorite because I like the Miles Morales version of Spider-Man. And I like the arc with him and his dad, him learning how to be responsible and take care of himself. And
did you watch the alt universe cut of that?
I'm honestly not sure which version I saw.
Well, if you get the Blu-ray, there's an alt universe mode for it, and it has everything added in that was cut out, and it really expands the story.
Oh wow!
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Everyone just added something new to their watch list.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just got whatever was streaming.
All right, so that answers that question.
Yeah. Next, Howard the Duck is a favorite for.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, see, you just called it because it makes me laugh, but also it's got its own world. I'm counting it as Marvel because of the crossover with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, they did kind of recanonize it, didn't they? That cameo.
Yeah. And also the arc of the villain, some of it is not his fault that he's being increasingly taken over by an alien parasite as the aliens are crossing over from their world into ours. And yeah, Howard the Duck, one of my favorites. I wanted to rank it higher, but Black Panther, Thor Ragnarok, and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse are technically better movies. That one, just the scope of its production and that it's so goofy and fun, still makes my 5 stars group, even though it's kind of wacky.
Fair enough.
And then Ant-Man and the Wasp, also for world creation, and Ant-Man and the Wasp convinced me to love car chases because of the changing up of scale.
They're no longer stupid.
Yeah, it's really not dumb anymore. And how it introduces the shrinking down and going even smaller than they thought. And it's starting to mess with their heads when they get to the microbial level.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Let's see, my 4s. Moon Knight and WandaVision both kind of tied for having heroes looking at mental health disabilities.
Yep.
Like Moon Knight has multiple personalities, and
that is true. They do sneak in some progressive themes that, if you look at it more closely, it's like, oh, that's interesting. And I just get distracted by how they're made. So that's cool.
Like, I think I like Moon Knight slightly better as a character over the whole course of the season than I like Wanda once we figure out what's going on with her. But they both are like conflicted heroes that sometimes have potential to be destructive because they're coping with a mental illness.
Cool.
And I also liked what WandaVision did with doing the different eras of TV in each episode. So like changing the power dynamic between genders.
Yeah, it was so unique too. Like people were saying, I'm sick of Marvel doing the same thing over and over again. Like, okay, fine, we'll give you WandaVision. And it worked in my eyes.
Yeah. And that it then connects in Avengers Endgame, I think, and Doctor Strange Multiverse that I haven't quite seen either of yet to catch up. So
you'll get there.
Yeah. Glue characters.
Yep.
Moving on, let's see. Uncanny X-Men series in the early 90s. Again, for disability reasons, that's the tone I want in stories, like the mutations in genes becoming...
As opposed to the invincible ever stopping.
Yeah. Like, makes problems for them as well as solving them, and gets tied into political activism.
Double positive. Triple positive.
After that, Captain Marvel for Monica Rambeau, almost more than Captain Marvel, but they're both really strong female characters taking government missions. And then Guardians 1 and 2 for the music, for Nebula, for the Nebula and Gamora fight, particularly in Guardians 2.
Cool.
That's my 4s.
I take it anything you don't mention, you probably gave a 1.
Or I just cannot remember. Like you mentioned Deadpool. That's sort of funny to me. Sometimes people in disability community talk about Blind Owl, and I have mixed feelings about Owl because
it's kind of not a positive version of a disabled character. It's more of a joke.
Well, she's basically there to get beat up by Deadpool in the movies. I think in the comics, maybe she has some moments where she's more equal to Deadpool. But I don't read deeply into the comic. I have trouble. I liked Duckpool, actually, in the comics when there's a crossover between Deadpool and Howard the Duck. That's what can convince me to read Deadpool.
Oh, cool.
Is if it crosses over with Howard the Duck.
Sweet.
My threes start with Spider-Man 2 for Dr. Octopus, the Sony Spider-Man 2. Just for Dr. Octopus, really. And then Eternals, I so wanted to like Eternals.
It's kind of a half-finished movie. Definitely a lot of studio meddling.
It's a movie that goes in too many directions.
Yeah.
Like, they have the hero team split into 2 acting styles, and like the comedy is out of balance with the drama. It's there to support the drama, but I like the comedy characters better, and I'm left wanting to see more of Kingo and the more American-style comedic moments.
Fair enough.
I love the Bollywood part of it, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Nice.
And that's useful in their heroics. It becomes strategic.
Cool.
Let's see. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is another one that I wanted to like, but it's better as glue in other movies.
It was already confusing enough after, the main guy, that Agent Coulson had been killed, and you're like, why did you even kill him off to begin with? Why couldn't you just have him be injured and then get his own show?
Mm-hmm. After a few episodes, I decided I care about Maria Hill and Nick Fury, but they pop up in other movies like Captain Marvel, and Maria Hill's like everywhere.
Yeah,
But-
without being it would not have lasted more than one season.
Mhm. Right. And then you guys ranked on Lee's Hulk down. I've got it at 3 stars. I like the character development in that one. All I remember is the helicopter shows up and everything kind of goes out the window.
Yeah.
And it's not so great anymore when it gets actiony.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people I think didn't like it because it's kind of slow.
Oh, totally. Apparently, the split screen, they were just like trying to copy the comic book style, but that confused people even more and more because at that time the TV show 24 was a big deal, and they were like, "So why are you taking a 24 editing style?" "Oh, I've never even seen that show. I was just doing a comic book style." "Oh, that doesn't look like a comic book style. It just looks like the split screen on the hit Fox show."
Yeah, I agreed. Let's see. Followed by Agent Carter. Do you guys remember Agent Carter?
Yeah, it was cool to see her get her moment in the sun, but she did have a pretty bad supporting cast where you're just like, get these fools out of her. She doesn't need your help. She just needs to go on her missions alone and kick some ass.
I thought she was a good science hero, well acted, and I like the gadgets and the plots are around the gadgets, but the pace of it overall is kind of slow.
Mm-hmm.
So it works as a period piece. I like it better than Captain America that it sometimes ties into. But yeah, I gave it 3 stars for quality, but really slow. And then Doctor Strange, I need to see the multiverse version. I have a theory that it's like a really good macrocosm multiverse, but I like microcosm, like single family multiverse, like in Everything Everywhere All at Once, even better than that. So I probably like Doctor Strange better just as like glue showing up in the Avengers stories.
Mm.
I'm expecting to be confused.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I love that character and I really want to love a Doctor Strange movie. I just can't go to all the movies in the world and have been slow to get to that one. The original Doctor Strange, it was, I think, good that they got rid of an Asian stereotype character, but then they whitewashed him and replaced him with Tilda Swinton as a female version. And the acting was good, but I didn't like what that did in the story.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see, 2, just one, 2, and 1. Spider-Man 3, I rated it 2 stars because I wanted Venom to be good so much, and they were in such a hurry to introduce him, and it just gets disappointing that the Hobgoblin story was more important than the Venom story.
At least it wasn't as bad as the movie Hobgoblins, so that's a plus.
Oh wow, I didn't even know there was a Hobgoblin movie. I thought he was
Mystery
just like
Science Theater.
strong,
I didn't know there was one either.
strong presence in the Sam Raimi's Sony Spider-Mans.
So what is your 1 out of 5?
Captain America Winter Soldier.
Oh, hot take.
Can you defend your argument? Like, I need some reasoning.
Well, like Chris Evans.
It's not because Chris Evans. And I used to like Captain American comic books a little bit just for Red Skull as a villain.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, Red Skull as a villain really fun for me, but Captain America Winter Soldier, kind of boring hero, and it's 1 star for an ugly palette on screen. Like by the time it came out, I was sick of everything being military and concrete buildings, and it's a world of concrete buildings.
So the set direction was very overwhelming, and the editing was no different than action movies at that time. I take it.
It's any action movie to me. It doesn't stand out as being particularly special. It's just cracked. It's 2 hours of cracked concrete.
Damn.
And then S.H.I.E.L.D. shows up. Like I perked up when Maria Hill showed up.
Fair enough.
Okay, and that's the only thing I remember liking in the Captain America movies.
Fair enough. All right, we're going to go to Duncan. I'll let you rank your list.
How's it going? This is Duncan from GDT.
Not
I'm going to go. Yes, that's correct. I'm going to go from. I can't remember who did it on the DC episode, but someone went from worst to first, and I like that better. So I'm going to try that one out this time.
That's fine.
Okay.
Just restate your rating if you need to.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to go by number in groups, but I'm also going to go as I name them. It'll be like the actual ranking. So I'll get to the first best, and I'm going to start with the worst, and that's the only zero I have. I haven't seen it, but it's a zero. Morbius.
You haven't seen it, so how can you rate it?
Jared Leto is a bad guy.
Just go on 1, 2, 3 movies and watch it now. I know he's a garbage person, but
he's a bad person.
I watched it to make sure it wasn't a Woody Allen bad person.
Okay.
Good filmmaker.
I feel you.
It really does feel like a hack job, just like the Fantastic Four movie. I will tell you that right now.
Okay, so if it's that bad, yeah, I'm going to.
In all fairness, the trailer was pretty bad, so you did kind of see the worst moments.
You're not wrong.
So I have 2 2s, Kingsman 3 and Thor: The Dark World. They just don't work for me. I'm not going to slander them. Don't like them. Yeah. 2.5s, I have Black Widow, then Captain Marvel, then Fantastic Four 2015, Hawkeye, Dark Phoenix, The Wolverine, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I don't really like any of these movies. I
find them dull.
they're just kind of boring for me, I would say. Having Dark Phoenix and the Wolverine this low is actually they're probably really bad then, because you'll see where I actually rank most of the X-Men movies. I'm kind of an X-Men homer, so for them to be this bad, this low on my list, they have to be pretty bad. So I'll say that about those two. For my 3s, we're gonna go The Incredible Hulk, then Ghost Rider 2, Ghost Rider, then Venom, then Amazing Spider-Man, then Kingsman 2, Men in Black 4, X-Men Apocalypse, The New Mutants, Thor, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, Fantastic Four, not the 2015 one, Moon Knight, X-Men Origins Wolverine, and then Spider-Man: Far From Home. So these are the 3s. These are, let's see if there's any ones that I want to actually talk about in here. Men in Black 4 is just a stinker, I think, but I like the Men in Black franchise. Again, like X-Men Apocalypse and the New Mutants, to get a 3, you got to be pretty bad, but they're just a little bit above those other ones. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier could have been so much better.
Different kinds of suck.
Yes, different kinds. That's a perfect way to put it. Different kinds of suck, yeah. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier could have been not a 3. I thought they ended really well. Actually, we'll get to WandaVision in my rankings, but I thought they were very kind of polar opposites in the fact that WandaVision started very strong for me and then ended very generically. And
I see
Falcon and the Winter Soldier took a very long time to get in, and then the last 2 episodes, I was like, where was this? This is what I wanted. Right? So that's kind of how I feel about those 2 shows. I do enjoy them. Moon Knight could have been so much better when you have a guy like Oscar Isaac as well. So it's I feel like maybe the 6-episode thing is hurting them. I don't know if that's what it is. Something about it is these shows aren't.
You don't know how much would be saved for season 2 versus meant to be binged. I do this whenever I tell everyone I'm sitting down to watch something like The Expanse or Bosch. And by the way, we're going to have to watch 3 episodes because otherwise you go a day without it. You're going to forget literally all the subplots. It's that interconnected. It's not like you say where you remember plot A, but plot B was kind of lingering in the background and not dwelt upon, and they didn't pull the Breaking Bad on you. It's just hard to explain to people. I need to see this all at once. We got to do 2 to 3 per night before we go to bed. Anyway, go ahead.
So 3.5s we're going to move on to. I don't have too much more to say about the 3s. 3.5s, I'm going to start with Spider-Man 3. I just want to note that I think that Sam Raimi, if he was given the chance to make his Spider-Man 3, and then I think he wanted to do a 4 as well.
Release the Raimi cut.
Right. That's the better version. So for me, it gets points for any movie that's got somewhat of a vision behind it, a director vision, I'm for. And although this one, they kind of took that away from him, it's still made by what I consider an artist who's really trying to do their own thing, and that's how I actually feel about the Ang Lee Hulk as well. I know we've gotten some takes where we don't really like it, but I think that he's trying to do something. And for me, the comic book panels actually worked because I hadn't seen 24, I guess. So it looks to me, it does look like a comic book in that one, and he's trying something. So I like that. But whatever. We're talking about the 3.5s right now. So it starts with Spider-Man 3, then Spider-Man Homecoming. The first Kingsman comes after that, then Men in Black 3. Then Shang-Chi, then Ant-Man and the Wasp, then Daredevil, Kick-Ass 2, Hulk, Captain America: The First Avenger, WandaVision, Loki, Iron Man 3, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Iron Man 2, Avengers: Age of Ultron, Eternals, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And that's a very strong 3.5 for both Doctor Strange, Eternals, and actually also Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. The three of those are
popcorn.
could almost be 4s for me.
Nice.
Oh,
And
really? Eternals?
yeah,
Eternals a 4 for you?
Yeah, again, I think that
It is a
guess
good
maybe,
LGBT movie. It's just the pace is what kind of made people leave the theater because they expected.
yeah, I
giant
don't. I guess maybe I don't get bothered too much by that. Like I don't need. I'm into some of the stuff they were doing where it was
I
like
just
in
love the
between the
cast.
battles. The cast is what the big thing is for me. I think the cast, and I like Chloe's out. I don't know how to pronounce her last name as well. So Loki, I wanted to mention. I thought Loki was really cool, and I mentioned WandaVision already. Loki was a little bit above WandaVision for me in that I liked the ending of it as well. Like I liked that kind of just talking ending, and the whole show was a lot of discussions, and I liked that, and I liked the character of Sylvie. And I think that Marvel knows that they've got someone in Tom Hiddleston. They're not trying to let him go, and I think that's smart. So
it's hard to have a career once you're on the.
I think it's the only Marvel show that's confirmed a second season, right?
Oh, really?
I think so. I think Winter Soldier was just meant to be a one-off miniseries.
Yeah, I think all of them are miniseries.
Wanda, I think they're just going to give spin-offs to all the other characters, much like She-Hulk that's coming out. Okay,
So those are the
very cool.
3.5s. I got some 4s for you, and then we're going to round it out with some 4.5s. So 4, I'm starting with Men in Black 2. Good continuation of the franchise, not quite the first one. Spider-Man: No Way
gets to
Home.
play 2 Marvel characters.
Yeah. We got a couple of those on here that are popping around. Obviously, like Chris Evans is a big one. Michael B. Jordan. I like that. I think that's interesting when they get a second chance, especially when like Ryan Reynolds was like. Obviously, that's 2 different franchises, but it's cool that he was given another superhero chance. So because people love Deadpool, but we'll get to Deadpool in this 4 section actually. Luke Cage comes next. I really like Luke Cage. I think it's like just so underappreciated as a show, but
Great soundtrack.
Some people don't like it. Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's got Mahershala Ali in it. Like, great. Like, great.
Such a great villain who you feel sorry for when he gets his ass handed to him by someone who you're like, wait, they're the villain?
Yeah.
Could have fooled me.
I really love that show. Next up is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Again, there's aspects of this where Raimi was given a chance to really do his own thing. Exactly. It's got his fingerprint on it in certain points, like to a high degree. And I like that. I think it could have been stronger had they just given it to him. And this one might have been a chance to be a 4.5. Spider-Man is next, the original one, Spider-Man 2. I actually didn't realize when I was doing this that I had 3 Raimis in a row, but that's where I ranked them. Spider-Man 2 just a little bit better than Spider-Man for me, but both of them just solid Spider-Man movies. I think that they kind of get the character, or at least I'm not gonna say like I get the character, so who am I to say that? But they get the character from my point of view, at least. Like it makes sense. As opposed to some other things that maybe in the future I don't think that they get him as much. So then's Iron Man, the original, 2008, is the next 4. Just great way to start off the MCU. Then Deadpool 2, Kick-Ass, Ant-Man, the original Avengers, the original Deadpool, which was a breath of fresh air when it came out because I just felt like some of the superhero movies could be sanitized, and this obviously one wasn't. So that was, with the character, you got to do something like that. So I liked the rated R take. Guardians of the Galaxy is next. Love that movie. Just love the colors in it. Captain America: Civil War, I know is sometimes hated on, but I just like team up movies. I think I'm a sucker for them. So that's next. Then Black Panther comes up. Just, a well put together movie in general. Like from here on out, I think that either they're movies that I personally have a personal tie to, because there's going to be some X-Men ones that people probably disagree with, but either that or like just well-made movies outside of the superhero genre. Like you take them outside of that, and I think they hold up against other movies, and that's Black Panther for me. I think it's just really well made. Next up is Thor Ragnarok, which just kind of was a fun ride when I saw it in theaters. I was like, hell yeah. And, Taika Waititi's someone who I'm a fan of, so always good. Next up in the 4s is X-Men, then X-Men Last Stand, then X2, then X-Men First Class. I love the X-Men movies. And I know that, like, some of those aren't loved as much as some of the other ones. Like, I know that X2 is pretty popular, I think. I don't know. I forget which ones people like because I like them all, so I can't keep up with which ones are the ones that people consider good or not.
We didn't know the filmmakers were pedophiles at the time.
Oh, yeah. I not
Even
endorsing
then,
any of that.
It's not like they directed the action scenes or were in the editing room.
Right. Yeah. Not endorsing that. Just want to be very clear. But yeah, those are the 4s. I love the X-Men. I just like the X-Men characters. Like Wolverine is like a fan favorite for like everyone. I feel like he's like the big one. But like I really do like him as well. But like just having, because you can get so many different characters in an X-Men movie. So I like that. Next up is the 4.5s, and these are my highest rated of the Marvel movies and TV shows. I believe they're all movies in the 4.5. So we're gonna go Legion first. Oh no, so they're not. Legion first. I love that show. I think it's so inventive. And again, X-Men. So next up, Logan, another one that's just like, that's a well-made movie. And I'm rating these on like my enjoyment. So like maybe Logan, like I might argue that Logan's the best.
I'm glad you got through
movie.
Legion. That was torture for me.
You didn't like Legion? No, Legion is a little polarizing as well.
It was better
and it's like
than
my
The Gifted,
taste.
though.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh,
but
man.
like again, this is my taste. You know what I mean? Like I'm rating on my enjoyment level. Like I totally get people like disagreeing, and I totally get like someone arguing that, like, for example, Black Panther or Logan is the best made movie out of them all. I wouldn't argue against that, honestly. I'm just saying, like, these are my favorites. So Logan comes in, I think, at number 7 for me at 4.5. Then Spider-Verse, blown away by this, and it was hyped up before I even went to it, and then it actually matched those expectations.
Great
Crazy when a movie
animation.
can do that. Yeah, just so inventive, amazing, and a great story, and like you just get so connected. Like if you were someone who, I don't know why you would be, but like was like bitching about it not being like focused on Peter Parker, if you're like one of those guys who doesn't like when they do new versions of characters, like then I think that this would like you were, even if you were going into it like with like afraid of that or like mad because of that, like they sold you right away, because like Miles is such a relatable character. He's so like the whole thing, the family dynamic, everything. It's amazing. Men in Black is next, 4.5, just a classic movie. I think it's amazing. I saw it when I was young, so it kind of
Here's that flashy thing on me.
Next up is X-Men Days of Future Past, which I think is one of I think it's the best X-Men movie for me. It's my favorite one. So I just, again, love X-Men movies. Then we're going to round it out with the last 2 at Avengers Infinity War, and then Avengers Endgame is my number 1, which I know a lot of people say Infinity War is better, and I think that, again, maybe a better movie, but for me, like, I can just rewatch both of them, but Avengers Endgame, like, on repeat forever. I couldn't wait to get the DVD.
Of the Marvel Universe.
I understand with you. I'm with you on that one. I think Endgame is a better movie than Infinity War.
Right. One of them's more of a comic book movie, and the other's is like, we just want to be epic. We don't know if this will be the last time.
There's more emotion and I think better acting in Endgame than there is in Infinity War.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, very cool, very cool. So, next up, just Dustin. We're going to let you dust it off.
All right, I guess let's hop aboard the Hot Take Express.
Pop it up, pack it in, we'll let Dustin begin.
This will probably get more divisive the further down we go, so I'll start at the 5s. At the very top for me, for sure, is Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Yep. I just feel like it's such a great movie on its own, apart from being a superhero movie. Like, there's all these directors like Scorsese and stuff that are kind of criticizing superhero films now, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. Like, if you enjoyed it, it's a valid experience, I think. But like
Neil Blomkamp and Dennis Villeneuve got in a Twitter war. One of them hated it, the other hated it, and like, and my sister wanted me to ask my take on it. I'm like, I like both these filmmakers. I will be at opening day for any of their movies. They're entitled to their opinion.
Right, exactly. But I just feel like the Winter Soldier, like if you plucked out all the superhero stuff, you've still got a good like political thriller there that I would enjoy watching on its own. So that to me, like, it really counts for a lot. Other 5s, we got Avengers Infinity War. That to me was just like the ultimate culmination of like having an Avengers movie. You've got all the people, everyone's together. Thanos is like that just next level threat. And I remember like it's always stuck with me because I saw it in the opening like weekend in the theaters, and like just the drop in the room whenever like they fail after they throw everything at Thanos and can't do it. And that was like such a memorable moment for just like a big popcorn action flick. Guardians of the Galaxy, I think it's amazing at every level too. Love the colors, love the use of music. It kind of proved that like a fun sci-fi epic can still work in the theater. And then Disney turned around and made those Star Wars movies, but it is what it is.
Different verse until they cross over inevitably.
Yeah. Okay. Last one I want to highlight at the 5s is X-Men the Animated Series. Just super groundbreaking, super ahead of the curve on everything. Very important series, I think, as far as like a lot of the progressive ideas it was pushing out there at the time, especially for the 90s. And it's still probably my favorite depiction we've got of the X-Men. I'm a little more critical on the theatrical takes they've done. At 4, I've got Doctor Strange. He is my favorite comic book superhero. So
it's a standalone movie before you get to the Stark Tower scene.
So like, yeah, it's like it's got problems. It kind of suffers a little bit from the whole like origin film formula, but
Yeah.
overall I was pretty satisfied with it. Thor Ragnarok, I think this really like course corrected the film series for Thor. The first two are like, they're not the worst, but I know the Dark World's a low one for a lot of people.
Oh,
But it definitely has a lot of issues to it. So I love Taika. Anything he's in on, it's going to be great usually. Black Panther's also at a 4. Again, I think this is like a super important film. I liked what you said, Teresa, about like the characters are very defined and they have these clear motivations that you can really like connect to as a viewer.
Every
I think
little bit
that's super cool. Yeah. Last one at number 4, and this might be the first divisive one. I've got The Amazing Spider-Man. To me, I think Andrew Garfield is my Peter Parker. I just love his depiction of the character.
The electronic score by Hans Zimmer.
I don't know. It just gets it there for me. And both the other ones, like I don't hate Toby or Hollanda's Peter Parker, but like each one of them, for me, and like as a kid that grew up reading Spider-Man all the time, they each kind of lack something that's like I don't know. It just doesn't quite land right for me.
I agree with you completely. Andrew Garfield is my Spider-Man.
Awesome. Glad I'm not alone.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I don't think he's a great actor, but his arrogantness works for Spidey. And it's like everyone, it seemed like everyone was coming in and they were like, oh, why is Spidey an asshole? I'm like, have you not read the comics or seen some of the cartoons? I mean, he's a high school kid. Everyone has
and now he's getting love after No Way Home, like on the internet. I'm just like, where was this love when we needed a Amazing Spider-Man 3?
People jump on bandwagons. It's the same thing every time, and everyone. Really, it's kind of like when you see people is like you see celebrities. They'll be told, "I loved your work," and you're like, "Where were you when I needed you?"
Exactly.
All the time, and I never got any words about whether I did a good or bad job on that show.
Yeah, I felt very vindicated after No Way Home. There was I like the way they blended everyone together. 3 stars. I put The Runaways. I don't think anyone's brought that up yet. The TV series.
I brought it up. That and Cloak and Dagger were pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but I think it's really good. And as it's gone, it's kind of gotten a little shaky, but like great, like just teen action superhero thing. I love the comics on these, and they really, I think they really tried to capture the spirit of it, and they cast everyone like super well too. Also 3 stars, Eternals. I think in the future, people are going to look back and realize it's not as bad as they think it is. I think so many people say like, oh, it's like the worst Marvel movie ever. And I just can't see that, man. Like,
yeah.
I don't know
with how far we've come.
One of my friends has a take on it. He says Eternals is like Star Wars. What's the middle one? I already forget it. The one that everyone used to like hated.
The Last Jedi?
Yeah, The Last Jedi. He says it's like Eternals is like a good movie. It's not like a good Marvel movie.
I can see that.
That's what he said. He says Last Jedi is like a good movie, but it's not a good Star Wars movie.
I think what happened is that the characters kind of eclipsed the theme, and they set up a really good theme about a god's conflict continuing eternally over time. But then they got too much into the gods are people too, and they got away from me caring about the theme, where their conflicts didn't connect to people are like this always.
They were trying too hard to make too many people happy instead of just go with one.
Exactly.
I think for me, what really appealed to me was just like you had this sweeping story, and I loved all the flashbacks to like them in different eras and how they had impacted humanity.
As opposed to let's fight out our superpower and then
somewhere in the mix of all of that, like it didn't quite fall out right.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
We're just hero dating soap opera. Like one couple kind of eclipsed the whole thing.
Definitely. Also at 3 stars, these are more just for fun ones because they have plenty of flaws, but I quite love them. Punisher, Warzone, and Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance. Punisher, like that one, just like nails that Punisher Max over the top, bullets everywhere, blood, gore, just crazy over the top.
Jigsaw, perfect Joker parody.
Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance, same thing. Like they made that origin one. It's all right to me. It's got some problems. And the second one, they were like, let's just have fun with it and do something crazy. We got them pissing out flames everywhere. It's just ridiculous, and I love it for that. At the 2 stars, and here's where some of the pain's are going to come in. I've got Captain Marvel. I don't particularly think it's a bad film per se, but in the scheme of like the MCU and everything they're building toward with like doing the Thanos thing. It
That's
felt
how
weird
Nick
to
Fury
me,
lost
like-
his eye. That's kind of seems like something you'd see in a Police Academy movie.
Yeah, and it's like if you imagine if you wrote a book and you stopped at like right before the last chapter to introduce this new character, and then they're really important in that final chapter.
I love Annette
Like,
Bening, but they gave her some terrible CGI where she's like getting all possessed and going.
I almost feel like maybe they should have just wait and brought her in the next phase, but it is what it is. The Sam Raimi Spider-Man films 1 and 2. I know a lot of people still have a lot of love for these, but yeah, I just feel like they haven't. I feel like they haven't aged well at all. Like I've gone back to them pretty recently, and a lot of the effects don't really hold up. There's a lot of like kind of cheesy, hokey stuff that really pulls me out of it now when I try to watch them.
Fair enough. And what are your ones?
And then at the ones, I've got some low-hanging fruit that's pretty obvious. Fantastic Four 2015. Nothing to say about that. Man-Thing 2005, the sci-fi original.
Won't be getting a Marvel reboot.
It's barely a property
knockoff.
Just slap the name on it. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3. I love the emo Peter part. That's about it.
You love the worst part. That's the best part.
And you may notice a trend here with these last few, but my last number one is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Ooh. Oh.
I think
you're not a Sam Raimi person.
Oh yeah, everyone's gonna hate this, but I'm just gonna say it. I think Sam Raimi outside of the Evil Dead films is kind of overrated a little bit.
Ooh.
I can understand that.
And as someone that desperately loves Doctor Strange,
pretty bad, but
I came to this film and it's like it's kind of a WandaVision epilogue. It's kind of an America Chavez origin film, and then Doctor Strange is just kind of there. Like he's the least important part of that film. I felt like,
ouch.
And there's just a lot of like Raimi-isms that it just pulled me out of the moment where it's like, hey, did you remember like Bruce Campbell punching himself in the face? Oh, here it is. Oh, do you remember this part of the Evil Dead? Oh, here it is. And
fair enough.
Darkman of Marvel property. Is Darkman a Marvel hero?
I don't think so.
That's an original character,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't be
Sam Raimi.
surprised.
If that's Marvel, I'd rank it.
I think they
before,
crossed him
otherwise
over in
it's
some Evil
outside.
Dead comics.
Darkman's my jam.
Okay, so
That's me.
that fair enough. Okay, so Bollockbuster, I'm gonna let you go.
Okay, so we'll start at the top. 5 stars. Captain America, Winter Soldier. I agree with what everyone said about that working kind of somewhat standalone. And even if you strip away all the superhero related stuff, it's a good political thriller, and I love that about it. I've got Iron Man at the top. Infinity War and Endgame, just because of the scope and how huge everything, and it was this culmination of I mean just this unprecedented level of putting this many movies together and it actually working. Let's see at the top I've got the Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor Ragnarok. That's a great movie to go back and laugh at, and it feels silly, but still, has a serious tone. My only thing I forgot who, maybe it was Jeffrey that said this, where it was not enough of the planet.
Oh yeah, Planet Hulk.
Yeah. That was, I guess, its only downside. If we could have gotten even just like 10 more minutes, like 10, 15 more minutes, that
just like how he got there, or something. Right,
a little more of the build up to that, or something. A little.
Well, there's the animated
around
flip,
that, but
shit.
Logan is a solid 5 for me. WandaVision, and I think I agree with Mo. I think somebody disagreed, but I don't remember who that was. But everything about it just being different and unique, and just not following that same formula that Marvel is still kind of stuck on. I mean, it works most of the time, but I just love how unique it is. And I grew up with like Nick at Night, and just all of the, so I mean, it brought back all of that, all of that stuff.
Nick at Night.
Are you trying to make us weep?
Hey guys, you want to go see Snick?
Okay, and your frees and your 2s.
Let's see. That was I've got a few more that are 5s. Loki, I loved it. Black Panther, great character development. Still one of the best villains we've ever gotten.
Yes,
and even with the final fight being a little messy, I think just because of how well done the characters were, I was able to kind of overlook that. And I don't think that that's something I could normally do, because normally I'm just like, I'm struggling to watch it because of how bad it looks on screen. But this totally was kind of like the opposite for me. I was able to kind of overlook, some of those visual flaws. But Spider-Man 2, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, so I'm a little biased on some of the Spider-Man stuff. I've actually got a Stan Lee tattoo where he's he's pulling his jacket open and he's got the Spider-Man outfit on underneath.
Nice.
Let's see.
It's on his ass.
Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Just I love the animation style, super unique and just totally exceeded expectations. And then Deadpool is up there for me. And then let's see, 4.5s. 4.5s. We've got Hawkeye, Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Rings. I love Wong showing up in that, and glad that they brought Abomination back and showed he actually looks fairly comic accurate now. So that was kind of nice to see that. And he's supposed to be making an appearance in She-Hulk, which is coming up. So I'm kind of excited for that. I don't know if anybody else is.
I
am definitely.
Far From Home, and then Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. And I know, and again, I'm a little biased despite them not holding up as well, because I've kind of gone back and rewatched recently as well. But I love a lot of the Sam Raimi stuff, and the pairing of Sam Raimi and Danny Elfman just really works, and just I don't know, that just helps kind of helps hold its value for me, I guess. But Captain America Civil War and Captain America the First Avenger, I know that one, a lot of people aren't real big on that, but I like how they did that origin.
They didn't make him
story.
be a propaganda tool anymore. They made him
Right,
self-aware
and I love
that he's being used like a
and
Manchurian
I love
candidate.
that sort of meta thing where, because that's kind of what he was that sort of tool for propaganda, so many decades ago. But so I love that they kind of incorporated that somewhat. What else do I have on? Oh, Doctor Strange of the Multiverse of Madness. I did like it, even though it was a little messy. I loved a lot of the, what did you call it? I think it was Dustin, the Raimiisms. I'm going to use that word now. The Raimiisms. Yep.
When he's having to tell his undead self to try and actually stop her. He's like, get through the portal, hit her.
A lot of the aesthetics were a lot of callbacks to Evil Dead, of course, and I enjoyed all of it. So even like some of the sounds that were played, kind of just definitely bring you back to like Sam Raimi horror. Let's see what else is on here. What If? I really liked What If. I think it had a few episodes that were a little wonky, but overall,
especially since they never happened. It's just like a mirror universe of a Star Trek episode. You're like, all right, so it didn't happen.
Well, in a way, it all does kind of tie in, because it is.
It really does.
So let's see. I won't go too much. I mean, if anybody wants to watch it and doesn't know about it, I don't want to.
Yeah, that's true.
But Deadpool 2, that's a 4.5, and then Ultimate Spider-Man, the 2012 series. I don't know if I watched every single episode, but I think I watched most of them.
You watched most of it and enjoyed it. That's fine.
Yeah.
MTV Spider-Man?
Yeah, it was an animated series.
I remember that. Neil Patrick Harris is underrated for that role.
And then Rocket and Groot was a 2017, I think. I don't know if I remember the year. But the little animated shorts are only a couple minutes long, but they're awesome. I mean, that's probably some of the best. I mean, just the combination and just how funny these characters were together, and to see just the two of them go on their own little adventures was awesome. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I rate this one kind of high. Actually, I may drop it down to a 4, but I was kind of on the fence. The only thing I don't like about it is where it's kind of like all of this multiverse stuff is happening, and we're supposed to kind of, I mean, we assume that this is taking place at the same time, and this is like this, they're fixing a boat together while the multiverse is falling apart. But so that's a little weird, I guess. But other than that, I mean, if you
anything for your crawfish farm, man, you gotta do what you gotta do.
You assume that this takes place like immediately after, I guess, what, Endgame, and then all of the other stuff just kind of trickles in after this, then maybe. But yeah, okay. So on to the fours. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Moon Knight. I did.
Yeah.
I was on the fence because I almost did like 3.5 for Moon Knight. Just because I do agree with what some of y'all have said about it. That's not that great. But I still enjoyed it nonetheless because I did just recently read some of the Moon Knight material, and you know, it kind of got me into it a little bit. X-Men 93. I started reading the X-Men series back in 92. And that was back when grocery stores sold comic books.
Yeah. And liquor stores
miss those days. But yeah, it was like every time we'd go grocery shopping, I'm like, Mom, can I get this? Let me get this issue, you know. But so I love, and I'm looking forward to X-Men 97. That's I can't remember when that, maybe next year I think is when it comes out. But looking forward to that. It's supposed to pick up right where it left off.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, picking up where it left off, but then also kind of tying into some MCU stuff potentially. So that is interesting. Cool.
And next one.
Amazing Spider-Man, Daredevil, the series, not the movie. That's not that high on this list. Luke Cage.
Just a minute, Oreo. We'll get your moment.
Punisher, Spider-Man 94 animated series, Iron Man 3, Guardians 2, Age of Ultron. That one, I love it because I'm a big fan of the character Vision, and I love seeing the creation of Vision, even though it wasn't. Yeah,
we're shield. We can't save you, but I'm next, so I'll save you.
But and I would have liked if maybe if Ant-Man maybe should have come out a little bit earlier, because that way, because I think he was the main one who created Ultron in the comics. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've read, but it was.
I know he predated the Terminator, so that's where I was like, why does he feel like James Spader in a voice booth imitating the Terminator?
Yeah, I really didn't like how they animated the face. Where, I mean, he's metal. I mean, this is like solid metal that isn't supposed to move, and it's like very fluid looking and has that like T-1000, like, you know, and it just. Obviously the special effects have improved drastically since then, but it still just had that kind of like they're figuring out how to make metal look realistic, like even in 2000 whatever year this was, 2015 ish, or no, I think it was like 2015 or so.
That's right.
But maybe even 20. No, yeah, it was about 20.
No, it was 2015.
It was 2015.
But I'm just like, how are they still? I'm like, did y'all not get? Maybe consult with Pixar on what metal is supposed to look like. Refer to their Cars sketches.
It's a good fucking movie.
But yeah, even despite some of that messy aspect of it, I still enjoyed it. I still love seeing Vision brought to life. And
your ones,
I've got Black Widow, X-Men Days of Future Past, and Blade. I've seen a lot of Marvel movies, so bear with me because I'm just now getting into my 3.5s. All right, so for 3.5, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, and I was on the fence on putting these at 4, but they're at the top of my 3.5.
They're just hit and miss.
They're just on the kind of and I could go back to them. Pretty much anything I would say 3.5 and up, I would be willing. Like I would intentionally like turn these on and rewatch them. Anything kind of below this, I would probably only watch them if they just happen to show up, or I was just bored and just not sure what to watch. But yeah, anyways, Iron Man 2, Thor, Jessica Jones. First season was good for me. Second season, not so much. X-Men
season 3.
And then season, there was a season 3. I don't remember if there was. I don't remember it then.
Ouch.
But maybe I just didn't watch it. But, so maybe it's not even fair to have it on this list since I missed a whole season. But X-Men 2, and X-Men First Class, Blade 2, and the Wolverine. And then let's see, on to
2 out of 5.
3. The threes. Thor: The Dark World.
accurate.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has its flaws, but I think that was out of Thor's costume. I mean, whoever was in charge of like how Thor looks, and they didn't dye his beard and make him look stupid like how he did in the first Thor. I actually thought Thor looked like a better Thor, a version of Thor in Thor: The Dark World.
The first one's more a Trek film than anything.
Yeah, I'm excited. They have a very comic accurate portrayal, I think, or at least when he's kind of like, they show like a scene where he's running as sort of like a child and then a teen and then an adult in the Love and Thunder trailer.
Oh,
and
it's a great
very,
shot.
very, very comic accurate. I mean, it's probably the most I've seen in any comic book movie, but yeah, I don't know.
Either way.
I lost my train of thought. But,
Anyway, the 2s out of 5s.
Yep. X-Men Apocalypse, Punisher Warzone, Ghost Rider Eternals.
Damn.
And Eternals, to me, that was the story was a little. It just seemed like it was thrown together. It felt like. I don't know if I want to say Justice League. And not Snyder's cut, which is slightly better, but
Batman versus Superman.
But it just felt like it was kind of rushed, and there were so many contradictory moments where, I don't know if I can think of all of them off the top of my head, but like one example would be where, was the character's name Fastos, where he was creating like farm tools or something, and it's like we can't, and they're like no, they're not ready for some of these things, and then it's like, but then you have the one character, I forgot her name, that's like creating these like, I don't know, like illusions and stuff, or like this, or like these stars that are moving around overhead, and I don't remember what the point of even showing the small village, this like fireworks show or whatever it is, what the hell they were trying to do. But then it's like, but they're not ready for farm tools and shit. Okay.
No, he created the engine. That's what it was.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's just similar. Like I was just kind of pulling something off the top of my head, but there's just similar contradictory points, kind of throughout the plot where it just doesn't make sense. And I think that it's so like it's weak enough that I think they could just so easily retcon this if they wanted to, and it wouldn't even like it would just be so easy to just forget about. I'm not saying that's what they're not going to do that. I'm sure they're going to tie this in very heavily into the next phase. But where was I going with that? I guess it's just sort of a mess to kind of like make all of these things work, and they're gonna force it in. They're gonna figure out a way to make it all work and not have it look stupid. And I really think that there was a perfect opportunity to tie some of this into like Moon Knight because of the gods, sort of aspect. You've got the difference between like the lower G gods and the capital G god and all this stuff that it's just such a huge missed opportunity that I don't know. That's my problem with the movie. There's so much more that it could have been that they just failed to do. Also, Agent Carter, which I definitely like better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But again, I loved her. It was just kind of some of the rest of the cast that just didn't really work for me. But all right, on to 2 stars. Iron Fist, Blade Trinity, Venom, Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer. I might revisit that because I might actually rank it a little bit higher, but as of right now, it's a 2 for me. Honestly, if we did all this and like, let's say we do a version of this like 6 months from now and y'all ask me how to rank, I would probably change like at least a third of these. So my rankings fluctuate from time to time. So I have a hard time ranking some of these as a 100%. Like this is, there's, my feelings are never going to change, a year from now, I could feel very differently about some of these, but,
I think we all do that.
Yeah. And then for the 1.5s, Fantastic Four, Hulk, X-Men, The Last Stand, and Daredevil, the movie. Yeah.
Damn.
And then for the number ones, these are ones that I don't think I will ever revisit, ever. It's Fantastic Four 2015, Elektra, Captain America 1990, X-Men Dark Phoenix. I
Understandable.
after hearing Teresa talk about Howard the Duck, I might have to revisit this.
Keep going.
Oh, sorry. Okay. X-Men Origins Wolverine. That was really disappointing to see what they did with Deadpool. In that was a huge letdown. That's what I was kind of looking forward to, but maybe even more so than Wolverine. And then Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, which I may revisit that. I'll see if I feel differently about it. But yeah. The New Mutants and Venom 2, only because, and I don't really have a problem with it just as a Venom movie, but I have a problem with what they did with Carnage.
Empty.
It just wasn't. There wasn't enough going on for Carnage. Carnage wasn't violent enough. We should have gotten more of a Carnage backstory. I mean, they could have, instead of doing a Venom 1, Venom 2, just give us a Venom movie and a Carnage movie. I'd rather, and then maybe halfway through, then Venom pops in and then that's, and then he's whatever. I don't know. They could have done something like that, but it should have been a Carnage movie, not a Venom movie. So
the title.
And I haven't seen Morbius, but based on what people are saying, maybe I shouldn't watch it. I don't know.
Give it a try. See how you
give it a try. Why not? But that's it. Okay, so that's everything for me.
All right, I'll do my worst one first. That way, just get that out in the fucking open. Worst one for me is Civil War right off the bat. That pissed me off so fucking much watching that.
What made you mad about Civil War? Because
it's a Kid Gloves version of the fucking event from the comics. It's so Kid Gloves. Like they throw them all together just to say, oh, it's a Civil War.
I like the film, but you are right. That is very true.
Yeah, it's like, oh, look, here they're fighting each other. Well, that's not how that happened.
I agree. It was an excuse for that airport scene, basically.
Yes. It was so dumb. Like, oh, look, here's Spider-Man. Oh, man, he's part of it. Oh, no. Like, that's not how it fucking happened. No. Tony lied to him and tricked him into signing the Superhuman Registration Act, not Sokovia Accords. What the fuck is that shit? Oh. I hate that dog shit film. It irritates. It's worse than Planet Hulk. And that made me even madder because they cut half the damn story out. Fuck.
Actually, I heard Planet Hulk is going to be an upcoming storyline that's going to stream off from the She-Hulk series.
Oh, God. They're going to fuck that up. Above Civil War and Disastrous Planet Hulk, I would put X-Men Evolution. X-Men Dark Phoenix. The main problem is that you can't take that story and put it into one film. It's got to be done in at least a trilogy. Mm-hmm. Not one whole fucking film. Because you smash all that together, and it does not look right at all. Now, I do like it, but not enough to be like, oh, yeah, you're cool. No, you're so dick.
They should also have done it with the Hellfire Club.
Yes.
Also.
Yeah, it was great how they handled it in the animated series in the 90s, introducing the Shi'ar alien technology and everything.
That is the flawless storyline. And
that
then
took
you got
a couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah. That was a good build-up, though. Like, every week, you're like, what happens next? What happens next? Oh, that's so good. What else? So after that, for my 3, I would go Blade. Definitely Blade. That's an easy 3 for me.
Some motherfuckers decide skating uphill.
Bingo. Like, it's good, it's iconic, it's fun, and it's one of those you can just throw on and just kick back and be like, oh yeah, it's good background
And if it's
noise.
not part of MCU sooner or later and Mahershala is not the son of Blade, then I want out now.
Yeah, like he had that guest spot on at the end of Eternals. I'm like, okay, that was interesting, but okay. My 4, oh man, it's hard.
The imperfects. Just go with just free select ones that just stand out to you the most.
Definitely Fantastic 2015. I love that movie. It's more grounded versus.
Hot take.
Yeah, definitely.
Wait, you say? Wait, hold on. So you said you love that movie?
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
I
release
do.
the Josh Trank cut. That's what he's saying.
No, it's much more grounded in its approach versus the original two versions.
I wanted to love it, man, but oh man, it was boring.
I mean, I get it. I get a lot of people don't like it. I have a lot of films I love. People
I
absolutely
love the
fucking
cast and
hate.
everything else.
Yeah. Like you get a more grounded background on everybody. If you compare it to 2005's version, if you take out Chris Evans and Jessica Alba, it's a shit film. They're only in there just to make them look pretty. That's it. My God tier rank for a 5. Blade series, easily. I love that so much. Yeah. Good. I mean, if you watch it unrated, it really fits to what shows are now. Because back then they were on Spike TV operating under a TV 14 rating. Whereas unrated, it's more TVMA oriented. And I love that. I was like, damn, this is beautiful. Doctor Strange 2007 is another 5 for me. I love that animated film the most. Like, that was just so damn good. They were starting to get more violent with the Marvel animated films, and I like that. And then they stopped making them. I was like, come on. And then another one out of that set is Ultimate Avengers 2, Rise of the Panther. I love that. After that, I would go with RoboCop, because RoboCop was under Marvel's banner for a little bit. And then he went to DC.
No, okay,
Yeah.
that's totally cheating.
No, it's not. He went from Marvel to DC to IDW. In a space
Yeah, well,
of-
he was before anyone decided comic book takeover.
But if I knew RoboCop was an option, that would have been on top of everything.
Yeah, it's not an option. Anyway.
That would have been a 5 for sure.
Yeah. And then I'll round out the last one with G.I. Joe the movie from '87.
Oh my God.
That's under Marvel.
That's a Hasbro entity license, but whatever.
It's more.
I'll let you have it. Anyway, what are your 2s? What are the ones where you're just like, there's some good potential, but they didn't use the best takes, or the cast looked like they weren't having any fun?
Oh my, that's tough. Shit.
Because I know Iron Man 2, they just try to do so much, and it's just very annoying.
I would say Elektra could be a 2. Like, it uses a lot of good shit, but there's not enough story to it. Like, the story's there, but there could have been a lot more with it. So yeah, Elektra can be a 2. No, I'll go with Spider-Man: Homecoming for a 2, definitely.
Ouch.
Okay.
What are your ones? What are the ones where you're just like, garbage?
Civil War, Planet Hulk. Yeah, I don't like them at all. They are so horrible.
Alrighty. Well, I think we're ready to go on to Landon's choice.
I did my top 10. My number 10 was the 86 Howard the Duck.
Oh, wow.
Number 9 would have been
Yay.
Shang-Chi.
Nice.
My number 8 would be Punisher Warzone.
There we go. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Number 7 for me was Iron Man.
Okay.
Number 6, the 2000 X-Men. It's kind of started it all. So number 5, the 98 Blade, the first one.
Nice.
Thank you.
Number 4 for me was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yes.
That movie wrecked me in so many ways. I saw it 5 days after my father passed away.
Oh.
Oh wow.
So then to watch 2 more dads pass away, I was a wreck in the
ouch.
theater. So
Damn.
number 3, Deadpool.
Cool.
Number 2 was Endgame. And number
Excellent.
1, Logan.
Nice.
Nice.
Infinity War didn't crack your top 10.
Infinity War is kind of tied with Endgame. I kind of lump them together. It's one very long movie.
You can't have
That's
Lord of the Rings
fair.
1 without 2 and 3.
Exactly. I mean, you watch one, you watch
In-game
the other one.
/ in-game. All right. Perfect.
So,
Okay. Badass, sir. So,
why, thank you.
Jamie.
Sir,
You are the line in the sand.
I am. I had 4 stacks of 5 movies each, A, B, C, D, but
Oh my god.
I cut it down. See, now I started with just 10, but I'm listening to you guys who know everything about everything, and I'm like,
Not
well,
that
okay,
far.
I better.
If you want,
pick
you can
some
just
more.
list your top 5, like the ones that you cannot live without. They are your comfort food. They are
Well,
your
I'll give you 10. How about that?
okay 10.
Okay. X-Men: Days of Future Past Rogue Cut. Love it.
Woohoo!
It's my
Oh,
favorite X-Men movie. It's my
Definitely.
favorite. It's got so much. It has so much depth to it. It feels like a historical epic as much as anything else. It's just, I love it. It's great.
I'm gonna marry you.
It's possible in this day and age. So
Let's do it.
Even the
Let's do it.
beginning,
Ordained.
everyone complained, oh, Blink was only in it for 5 seconds. But I'm like, yeah, but those weren't awesome. Like 5 seconds. Number 2 for me, Thor.
oh,
Interesting.
Awesome. Fucking awesome. It's simple. It's a fish out of water story. And I just
predictable.
so what?
I know. I can't do predictable if it's a Highlander wannabe, but I'm glad you love it.
I love Highlander.
90% of all comics and comic book movies are like somewhat predictable.
Which is why
Yeah,
it bores
That's
me.
fair.
But anyway, I kind of enjoy it because of its simplicity, because it was before everything just sort of went crazy.
Yeah.
Even though I like that too. Number 3, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Classic. Never saw anything like it. I actually didn't go see it in theaters because I was like, Spider-Man.
Damn.
Yeah, I
Bad
know.
marketing. Still makes
Yeah,
money.
it could be. Yeah, I think now when the next one comes out, people are going to know what it is
Yeah.
more. But anyway, yeah, I like the vibe of it. I like the colors. After that, number 4, Captain America: First Avenger. I like the atmosphere. I like a lot of Phase 1 movies. It was simple. It almost had kind of an Amblin entertainment, like Spielbergian.
Yeah, I can see that.
Spielbergian. That is a good way to put it. The
Spielberg.
I was looking in the credits for Amblin logo to pop up.
Well, yeah, it felt like an Amblin movie.
Yeah.
Joe Johnston directed it, I believe. That would be one reason why. But I like the vibe to it. I like the feeling of it. Next, number 5, Blade 2.
Woohoo! Underrated gem.
Masterpiece. Love it. There's 6. Doctor Strange, the original. Now,
Yep.
I would say Multiverse of Madness, but it's too new. It's too fresh. I want to see it about a dozen more times before I really rank it anywhere. You know.
Yeah, I can
But-
understand that.
Doctor Strange is my favorite so far. It was a discovery visually for a lot of people and for me. I mean, when we were kids, like, did you ever think like we'd be going to movies with like visually realistic Iron Man and Doctor Stranges?
No,
No, I mean, I don't know why.
because you figure you're stuck with cartoons. That's as visually striking as you're going to get. And then you have all these movies and shit that are going further than that. It's like, damn,
Yeah,
how you topping this?
That 1977 Incredible Hulk was awesome, though.
yeah,
Yep.
oh yeah.
He wrestled a bear. Eat that. All right. And your last few.
Number 7, Guardians of the Galaxy. Everyone loves it. Yeah, it's one of those movies that's like, you don't like it? What's wrong with you? You know?
I hated
That
it in
kind
the
of thing.
theater, but I came around to it on the second viewing.
Okay.
It was taking too much from Star Wars and Terminator with just a lot of nods and homages. But once they get past the prison scene, it's a total like love letter to Fifth Element type cinema. It is very well put together and great art direction, and a cast that clearly loves each other.
Number 8, Punisher Warzone.
And we're talking
Because it's just,
the best of the ones.
yeah. I mean, I kind of dig the Thomas Jane version.
Yes.
But it just wasn't vicious enough.
That's
I
the
mean,
thing. Like
He
you
wanted
look
to
at
go
both.
further with it.
You look at the Dolph and the Jane versions, and it's like the extended cuts are way better. But see, those weren't the ones that most people saw. And nothing against Bernthal, he did his job. But Punisher's kind of more just a loose dick. You know, he just goes around just with no
Shooting shit.
self-control. While this guy, he's very self-aware, and
Yeah.
it makes great use of, like you say, over-the-top violence and dark comedy, which is what
Mhm.
we
Yeah.
look for in those books. And so when they embraced on screen, it really was a kind of cult underground kind of movie when it came out. And that says a lot because the studio mishandled it. The director was, mocked by executives. And it's just
Yeah.
so glad that I loved it when she was on, they were reviewing it on How Did This Get Made? And they brought the director on. They congratulated her saying, you did it one hell of a job.
Yeah. She,
Well, I think having Lionsgate behind it helped a lot also versus
Right.
Yep.
actual Marvel studio.
Yeah. This does feel more like a Lionsgate thing, like an indie horror kind of thing. All
You're
right.
right.
Number 9, Logan. We all love
Woo.
Logan.
Yeah.
I
That
hope
gut
it leads.
punch.
I hope it leads to more X23, X21.
Yeah. 23.
23.
22 got killed.
Yeah, I can't keep it all straight.
I know. It's fun.
And last but not least, First Class, X-Men First Class.
The newer prequel ones, it is better at just kind of assembling it, righting some of the wrongs of the original trilogy, and then, like you say, like
Yeah.
it really
Definitely.
it gets to the goods right on time, like just with the beach and assault, and just, I mean, it's also a fun Xavier origin story. He got wounded,
Yeah.
taking a bullet for the team.
Right.
With this and Days of Future Past, I was really hoping for them to hit a home run, but sadly they didn't. Although I still like Age of Apocalypse, I still like
Yeah.
Dark Phoenix. They're good. They're okay.
Yeah.
But they're not like
God,
top
you're
10
good.
list amazing. Like, wow.
Yeah.
You know?
That's fair.
Like visually, Dark Phoenix, yeah, but
Yeah.
story, no.
And the way they
Well-
beat Apocalypse was just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I like the movie. I like Apocalypse, but not like hardcore.
Oscar Isaac is just stuck in Egypt these days, man.
It's true.
Well,
Where's
thank you
Brendan
all.
Fraser?
Brendan Fraser. He should be part of the Marvel Universe. Rick O'Connell somehow is in there.
I wouldn't be surprised.
He's
one
part of
these
DC
days.
as the robot. So there you go. Thank you all for being on here. We
Oh, it was
put
great.
on one
Thank you.
hell of a show. We
Yes, we
had
did.
so many unpredictable picks. I never would have seen where the conversation was going. We'll stay safe out there and keep kicking ass, and definitely throw in some links for your other upcoming podcast episodes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be
Yeah,
sure to
have me
share 'em.
back anytime.
All right, for sure.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, thank
Bye.
you so much.
Bye.
Thanks, Cam. All right.
Thank you
Good
all.
talking to everyone. Have a
Yeah.
good night.
Absolutely.
Okay, bye.
Hey,
Badass.
take care.
Love you.
Love you all.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a jacked up